Hello, good evening, and welcome to my coverage of one of the most anticipated games of the group stage of this championship, surely. France against Germany in one of Germany's marquee stadiums, the Allianz Arena in Munich, where Bayern München hold their club matches. And there's no question that while France are the heavy favourites for this tournament, the Germans will have the home advantage. Of course, these two sides have met many times for some historical and memorable clashes, perhaps most famously all the way back in 1982 in that World Cup semi-final in Spain. Infamous incidents, the first ever World Cup to be decided, the first ever World Cup game to be decided on penalties. West Germany prevailing that time round. They've even met at more recent international tournaments at the knockout stage. Germany defeating France by 1-0 in Rio de Janeiro, en route to winning the tournament itself. And then more recently, at the last version of these European Championships, France defeated Germany in the semi-finals, hosting the tournament that time round, beating Germany 2-0. And of course, in the Nations League in the autumn of 2018, these two sides met in this very stadium and it ended in a 0-0 draw. And considering we nearly had another one of those today between Hungary and Portugal, let's hope for something memorable. France, the first team to exit the tunnel. I see Antonio Rudiger is still wearing a mask following injuries earlier on in the season for Chelsea. As Joachim Löw exits the tunnel for the start of what will be his final tournament before handing over to the man who ran things from the sideline with Bayern München in this stadium, Hans-Dieter Flick, his former assistant. Now we are ready for the national anthems, beginning with La Marseillaise. It's now the German national anthem. So the lineups for the national teams, don't let the change formation for the French national team confuse you. Deschamps may have done a 4-2-3-1, may have used that formation routinely in the past, especially at the World Cup, which France won in 2018. But it's almost certain that it will still resemble the old formation of sorts. Now a 4-4-2 diamond, but Rabiot may well move up to occupy that left side of midfield, fighting off competition from Corentin Tolisso of Bayern München. And Mbappe, if not at centre forward, will drift into the right side of the pitch. Rabiot and Mbappe either side of Antoine Griezmann. The back line is essentially unchanged from that World Cup. The perennially injured Samuel Umtiti replaced by Presnel Kimpembe. And Joachim Low continues with a back three, with a number of players, with quite a number in the starting 11, played significant roles in both of the last two Champions League finals. You have Müller and Neuer starting, and Gnabry as well, victorious in that final last summer in Portugal. Kimmich too, and you have Rudiger, Havertz, Gundogan, who competed in the final in Porto a few weeks ago. On winning and losing sides, Atalanta's Robin Gosens at left wing back. Of course, the armbands for each country will be found in the net tonight. Germany will start us off when the referee blows his whistle. And one of the most anticipated matches of this tournament begins. And it begins the final match of this first stage of group games. And we're about to find out the performances, the last game, where we come to understand the performance levels of two more teams. Yeah, we will have seen every team play at this tournament after this match. And it's Germany immediately trying to push into France. Benzema already trying to press. And Griezmann to Benzema's right, Mbappe on the left. That's the thing with the Deschamps system, it's 4-4-2 diamond normally, but can mutate into a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3 even, which it appears to be at the moment. As France quietly, but they impend themselves on Germany and push them back now. Now it's Joshua Kimmich playing on the right side of midfield, so sort of a hybrid of a midfielder and fullback, I imagine. Although trying to make the best as a Kimmich, who is generally very versatile. Of course, he's even played as a centre-back at Bayern before. Played forward to Gnabry. Here's Havertz. Excellent agility. Gosens but back to Antonio Rudiger. Germany finally breaking the ball back into France's half as they wanted earlier. And I think that should be a free kick. It is, given by the referee. And surprise, surprise, it's Joshua Kimmich who is going to take this one. He's had a wonderful season for Bayern once again. Affected by injuries, but he still managed to assist 10 times in 27 games. It's actually Kroos who is going to tee this one up. For even longer, we've seen this man with some incredible deliveries. In it comes, and it's over the bar from Hummels. In fact, it was Toni Kroos who set up Mats Hummels for the winning goal in this fixture between France and Germany in the World Cup 7 years ago in that quarter-final. Left-footed Hugo Lloris plays it up to Pavard, another Bayern Munich player. Pogba has fouled Kroos. Might actually have been a handball. Not that it matters. Muller dropping deep. And another ball played over France's back line, but quickly kept away. And here's N'Golo Kante. Didn't have much to do there. It's back with France's back line. Varane, Pavard. And here's Griezmann. That's a nice ball, but too heavy for Pavard in the end. Thomas Müller has won another throw-in. And Havertz couldn't control that one. Of course, well, France have two centre forwards of sorts. No actual out-and-out centre forward for Germany. Thomas Müller is effectively playing as the 9, or a false 9 of sorts, as Havertz is carded. Or was that for Kimmich? My apologies, it is Joshua Kimmich who is booked, which could be very important later on in the tournament. We've seen quite a few high-profile players receive yellow cards. Manchester City players like Phil Foden and Ruben Dias have already been booked in their opening games. Some tricky decision making for their managers. France break here. They're in the final third with Mbappe. Pogba tries to control it. And Benzema's shot is blocked. And I think that came off the referee. No. If it did, he would have stopped play. It's back with Hummels. Goossens, Muller. Again, dropping back into the midfield. Gundogan chips it over, but it's off the head of Varane. Rudiger finds in Goossens. He can't control it either. Benzema dropping very deep at the moment. And here we have Rabiot trying to burst forward. Heavy challenge. But it's a throw-in for Le Bleu. Hernandez, another Bayern player, takes it. Goossens tries to switch it in field. France have won it. Back with Rudiger now. Matthias Ginter. Of course, won a World Cup medal back in 2014, then just 20 years old. Don't believe he played any minutes in the tournament, actually. One of the few players in the squads where that was the case, along with the two backup goalkeepers, Ron Robert-Zieler and Roman Weidenfeller, alongside Neuer in Brazil. For this tournament, with Ter Stegen out, injured, it's Kevin Trapp and Bernd Leno with Arsenal. Gundogan forwards. Oh, again, some interesting and ambitious passes played forward, but again blocked out by France's centre-backs. Indeed, with no centre-forward, it's going to be interesting having the likes of Havertz and Gnabry trying to break through that back line. Gnabry hasn't really featured so far in the match. I know only 11 minutes have been played. No doubt you'll see a technicality of Benzema and the acceleration, rapid speed of Mbappe. I'm sure you've heard that many times before. Here is France trying to get into the area. Griezmann, his touch didn't work. France deal with the any sort of trouble in no time. Hugo Lloris, a very casual pass out with his right foot. No danger, no pressure. Could afford to even. N'Golo Kante there. A few months ago, Kimmich was regarded as the best performing midfielder in Europe All it takes is for Bayern Munich to struggle in Europe and Chelsea to win the Champions League. Of course, Kante has had some excellent performances, but it feels like all it takes is a few good recent performances and suddenly Kante is certainly the better midfielder. In addition to France being favourites to win the tournament, and now we're hearing discussions that Kante will no doubt be important for France if they are to win the tournament. Could be the man to win the Ballon d'Or in the autumn. It's Germany forward now though. Havertz looking to feed in Muller and Gnabry, but it's intercepted. Kante is on the ball, tries to get it forward to Benzema. Another connection. Benzema's first game in a major tournament since that 2014 World Cup in Brazil. No free kick, even though Mbappe goes down. But France have it back now in a more dangerous area. Benzema now. Not the best pass. Griezmann tries to tackle. Not much can be done. Manuel Neuer to club teammate Kimmich. Gnabry dropping back now. That's a lovely volleyed pass into Muller. Tries to get it across the area and it's successfully dealt with by Kimpembe. I believe the flag might have gone up actually. Rafael Varane's not a bad passer of the ball either. Pavard. Griezmann. Kimpembe. Kante. Paul Pogba. And Kante looking to feed someone into the penalty area. The final pass was poor, but he's got it back. It's Pavard drilled across and behind by Ginter. The first corner of the night goes to France. Missed by a couple of other defenders, and Ginter got there in the end. It's Griezmann to swing this in. He's assisted some great set-piece goals for France in tournaments over the years. Over the bar from Pogba. With an interesting asymmetrical jersey. He's got a short left sleeve but a long right sleeve. Of course, unexpectedly a very... Okay, he is tall, but Pogba is way more renowned for his technical ability than his dominance in the air, but he is exceptional at that as well. He scored some great headed goals for France. But here's Germany forward now. Kimmich onto his left foot. And away again. Very, very lazy pass. Quickly back to France. And here's Adrien Rabiot forward. Exchanging with fellow left footer Antoine Griezmann. Mbappe! Good save. And that's relatively straightforward for Manuel Neuer in the end. Yep. Just had to get his fist to it. It's not Particularly hard for most goalkeepers to stop, but I'm sure he'll have more challenging saves to make, if not in this game later on in the group stage, if not against Portugal, against the Hungarians, who were very unlucky in certain regards of how their performance went today. Another corner, headed away. Pavar back to N'Golo Kante, who's effectively at a centre-back or sweeper at this point. Neuer to Goossens. Very ambitious acrobatic clearance there from Rabiot, and he's actually won possession. A really nice ball for Pogba, but quickly swept up by Neuer, and he has to watch it. Oh, a very nervy moment, but maybe not if you're Manuel Neuer. He's probably used to doing that a lot. Came right out there to tackle. If Kylian Mbappe had won that, maybe France are 1-0 ahead and they're celebrating right now. I can't think of any other goalkeepers who will come off their line and be that ambitious and adventurous like Neuer was there. Of course, it doesn't always work. Who wouldn't remember that infamous moment against South Korea in the 2018 World Cup when he ran into the opposite half and eventually conceding a second goal through his absence. Not that it mattered at that point. Germany needed 2 goals in no time at all before their elimination from the tournament. Indeed, this is their first tournament appearance since that game. There's been a lot of international football since then. Qualifiers for 2 tournaments and 2 Nations League groups. It's Pavard inside to Pogba. And again, nice ball, volleyed, and in! France leading on 20 minutes, and I think it's been turned in by Hummels. France celebrates, but it's yet another own goal at this tournament. And again, it was a dangerous ball from Pogba, floated over the top into, I think, Lucas Hernandez, and then the clearance scuffed by Mats Hummels. And Neuer is helpless. And they thought Mbappe would claim the goal, but he was actually positioning himself to make a tap in if needed. In the end, it comes off Hummels, who is not, this is not the return to tournament football he would have hoped for. Certainly not. But Hummels is a veteran, and I'm sure he'll be able to overcome the huge personal disappointment any player would feel with that sort of misfortune. So, Demiral in the opening game against Italy, Wojciech Szczesny against Slovakia, Mats Hummels against France, and I don't believe I might be forgetting other own goals, but well, as expected, France have threatened and it's paid off. Goossens trying to burst forward. And again, Pavard heads it out. Goossens twice tries to cross, and it's headed across the face by Müller. Nope, my memory does serve me correctly. This is the third own goal in 12 matches at this tournament, so one for every 4 games. In fact, I'd say that's the most spectacular of the lot so far. If that was a finish into France's net by Hummels, that is quite impressive. It's just a failed clearance, ultimately. Not that too much pleasure should be taken from it, regardless of whom you support. And a nice flick. But before anyone can get there, it's cleared out. Gundogan tries to head it to her teammates. Gnabry heads it down into Muller. It's Robin Gosens again. Kroos. Muller effectively playing as a wing or a wing back at this moment. Gundogan tries to go alone and he's won a free kick in a promising position for Die Mannschaft. And Gundogan tried to spin the ball under his feet to retain possession. Sort of a soft free kick if you ask me. And the current Bayern player and the former Bayern player looking to take it. Both right-footed, Kroos and Muller. That said, I wouldn't be surprised if one day Kroos scores a worldie with his left foot. Not too far off being ambidextrous, is he? Kroos is going to take this into the wall. Rebounded back to Hummels. Kroos came close to scoring a screamer at the World Cup against Mexico. Not long after they went 1-0 down, the final scoreline in the end. Kroos took a great free kick, which Guillermo Ochoa did well to turn onto the crossbar. Kai Havertz accelerating away. Gosens now. Again, not too adventurous with his passing into the box tonight so far, Gosens. If anything, I feel Kimmich has not received as much of the ball as he ought to. That's a great ball into Havertz, but he couldn't control it. Is that another free kick? It is. And again, same 2 men, Toni Kroos and Thomas Muller. A bit further out this time as well, so more power required. Well, it hasn't really scored many great free kicks. Then again, neither is Kroos. Of course, Kroos did score an absolutely wonderful free kick. It was almost as much a cross as anything against Sweden 3 years ago, but from a very different position. Kroos goes direct and it's over the bar. Didn't really trouble Lloris at all. So Ilkay Gundogan back to Hummels. I do wonder if he's trying to recreate Chelsea's tactics for at the back with a ball playing centre back. Usually someone like Thiago Silva. In this instance, it's Hummels. You might have some attacking creative fullbacks. He's chosen Kimmich and Goossens as Kimmich himself goes forward. And appealing quite intensely for a corner. He has to be careful. If he's too aggressive, he's going off already on a yellow. So just see who got the last touch. It does appear to be Kimpembe. Let's France play out now. Back with Germany with Havertz. So of course, no out and out centre forwards. Ball playing centre back. International tournaments have usually been won with 4 defenders, not 5, but as Tuchel's shown, one can still win trophies, not least at cup level, if not at league level, with 5 defenders. France forward again here with Mbappe. Pogba. Gives it to Griezmann. Back to Varane. And the pass on his left foot doesn't end up reaching anybody. And it's out of play. There you are. Hummels' own goal. Makes it 1-0 so far after half an hour. Would be very anticlimactic still if this was the final scoreline, the end result. Sometimes that's all you need. Good defence and a bit of luck. Terrible ball by Kimmich. Goossens has intercepted it. Rudiger tries to back pass it. And Neuer controls it well. And now it's out to Kimmich. Keeps it in, yes. Now going infield. Ilkay Gundogan. Through ball doesn't work. Pogba. Antoine Griezmann. Rabiot. Out to Pavard. Kimpembe. Lucas Hernandez. Back to Pavard. And Paul Pogba. To Pavard. It's interesting. Lloris putting so much emphasis on midfield. He doesn't feel the need for particularly offensive fullbacks. Pavard and Hernandez would just be as good at centre-back. Kante keeps control of it. Pogba. Joachim Low was similarly doing that at the World Cup. Didn't play with attacking fullbacks. He played the likes of Benedict Hoevedes and I think Jerome Boateng as fullbacks at that tournament, allowing Schweinsteiger and Kroos and Khedira to dominate games. Sometimes all you need is enough firepower through the middle. And that can win you tournaments like these. Maybe not so effective in the league, but when it's a cup tournament, very handy. To Goossens. Ilkay Gundogan. Kroos. Just like so many of the other teams at this tournament, France doing a good job defensively. They've sat back, responded to so many attacks well as Varane is brought down. He was grabbing his leg. Thomas Muller's got a small knock as well. Nice touch from Griezmann. Now it's Mbappe. Benzema making a run in the centre. Mbappe accelerates into the area. And Ginter has played it behind again. Be very surprised if Mbappe does take this corner. He's not the most creative player, despite a lot of people's claims. Although Mbappe is not necessarily the tallest, so you wouldn't expect him to win this in the air. It's Griezmann who will take this again. In it comes. Back out again. All the way back to Hugo Lloris. It goes. Very, very unusual throw outs by Neuer there. He dived to grab the ball, but then instead of coming to a stop before he completely came to rest, throwing the ball back out. He is known for having a very powerful throw, as demonstrated in that infamous match against England in the 2010 World Cup. Threw it into the opposition half like it was nothing. Remarkable keeper in just about every sense. Lloris ain't half bad either, even though there's no denying that he is no longer at his peak. Again, played out to Robin Goossens. And the overheads, and Gundogan has scuffed his attempt. Couldn't connect with it properly and it bounced into the turf inside the area. First a deflected cross, then it's Gnabry with the overhead. In fact, it took a deflection, I think. So surely we're going to see a Germany corner in a second. Yes. Came off Pogba. Didn't look like it was going in anyway. So once again, Germany denied a corner which maybe should have been given. Definitely appeared to go off Pogba last that one. Rudiger. Kroos. Forward to Gnabry, who can't get round club teammate Pavard. Every attempt at the through ball shot off. That one by Muller. And Hernandez has brought down Pavard and goes down in quite animated fashion. The injury didn't look that bad at first glance. And I see, I don't think that was intentional whatsoever. Kimmich swung a boot into Hernandez's face, but I do not believe, if at all, that would have drawn much blood. Not just from the replay, but from what you can see on the screen. Of course, Kimmich already on a yellow card. And yes, be careful that he doesn't get sent off. That could still yet happen if he's not careful or if the referee is particularly harsh. Kante sprinting into position to receive the ball. Rabiot out to Hernandez, who's happily back on his feet. Doesn't appear to be any cuts on his face whatsoever. Pogba floats it into Benzema. Can he get it down? To cross the penalty area and into the gloves of Neuer. And now Germany will try to break. Gunter into Havertz. Kimmich, Rabiot, and the shot is blocked. Out of play. Kroos with what looked like a disguised shot. Gnabry. And France break again. Benzema now in the wide areas of the pitch. Of course, one has to consider the implications of what it would mean if Kimmich was to be suspended. Germany playing Portugal on Saturday in Munich. Be very interesting to see how Germany would play if they without Arguably their best midfielder at the moment, even over someone like Kroos. Here's Pogba forward now. Back heel to Griezmann. And France's throw. Housens gets to it before Griezmann, but it's another throw. Flags up against Pogba, who was very intense as he was on. Very easy decision for the linesman to make him as well. Pogba right in front of him. And Pogba has to be careful, otherwise he'd get a yellow card. Hungarian player got a yellow card earlier today for protesting a decision against a goal which did indeed turn out to be correctly ruled offside. Disappointing as it was. Rules are rules. What would it be? What would have happened if that goal had stood though? Hungary 1-0 up with 10 minutes to go. Indeed, it was disallowed, and very quickly they suffered a dramatic collapse. Lost 3-0 with goals from Cristiano Ronaldo and Rafael Guerreiro. Again, some great balls out from Rudiger tonight. Not that one necessarily. Kimmich couldn't keep it down. It's 1 minute that's to be added on at the end of this half. Kroos dropping between the centre-backs to receive the ball. It was in that position where he made a huge error in the World Cup final in Rio. Tried to head the ball, but it went straight into the path of Gonzalo Higuain, but Higuain put the resulting shot wide. Many people remember that Higuain missed. What a lot don't remember, I think, is how he ended up in that position to begin with. And the referee calls time. I've done 4 live streams, and this is my first one where there is a goal in the first half, which I can talk about, and it ends up being an own goal. None in my first 3 live streams, an own goal in the 4th. But the world champions lead this match against the team they claimed the title from. And no doubt Germany have had intent, but have ultimately not shown enough. And in the end, going into the break, it is France 1, Germany 0. Welcome back to my coverage of this much anticipated group stage game between France and Germany in Group F. Of course, with Hungary falling to Portugal, more chance. Apologies, guys. I was just checking my sound was okay. Just answering some of your questions. I'm not used to people in the chat. So to answer Marcel Hissam, where are you? Where were you? I am broadcasting my coverage from my room in the UK. It is half time. Vital Conte should be coming to an end any second now. Rodrigo Neves is the guy show images of the game. Not in any particular way. Of course, I can't show the broadcasts. I know it's free to air in a lot of places, but that's not permitted. I wouldn't want to. And hello, Daisy Mills, and thank you for the subscription. Much appreciated. My words. Much appreciated. Thank you. And now, back to the game. And while there haven't been so many seriously lethal attacks, I have to say that France have looked a bit sharper. And then, being the away team, we're off again for the second half. Play back to N'Golo Kante. Even though France have looked more threatening when the attack, I'd say that yes, Germany have been have had the better chances. That in itself, there is no doubt. And often France has been the more defensive side. They played much more defensively than Croatia in the World Cup final, but went on to win. It's interesting from Didier Deschamps. He doesn't rely on a masterstroke system, which allows for fluid attacks. He chooses something more direct and counter-attacking. But if it does the job, what else matters really? Germany going forward though, again. France are well marshalled and get it away. It's now with Rabiot. Kylian Mbappe looking to tease his way into the box. Works his way onto the left foot. He'll have to cross it now. No way can he shoot. Still tries to wrong foot his defenders. Rabiot. Poor pass in the end. Straight back to the Germans. And Neuer clears it, I think, out of play in the end. And onto the chest of Didier Deschamps for France to take the throw. And of course, Deschamps is one of those managers who doesn't care whether a star player misses out on the starting lineup because it doesn't work in his plans. He will do the job. He will, if a player doesn't quite suit what he requires, no matter how good they are, they won't play. Maybe they'll get some games, but won't be prioritised. And if someone is good for the national team, if they're not the best at club level, they can play. And that is why the likes of Adrien Rabiot are in the starting 11 tonight for France. You could even argue someone like Kimpembe might not be good enough, although he is a great centre-back. There's a reason why he will be in the starting lineup, not Aymeric Laporte, who of course played his first tournament game last night, but for Spain. Lowe has definitely been more into playing the more important star German players. Although I could say his lineup does appear to accommodate most of them pretty well, it just hasn't been very effective so far. That's a good turn, and Benzema's on the ball now. I think it's in play. Straight back to Neuer though. I only just realised that the fluorescent green jersey Neuer wears is very similar to the one he's worn for Bayern over the years. I don't know if there's that much significance, but an interesting detail regardless. Havertz playing as a wing back here. The ball lobbed forward again. Simply can't get it to a player in white. And the men in blue always get it out. Rabiot again. And cleared back to Lloris by Matthias Ginter. And the flag is raised against Kylian Mbappe. Oh, so close to timing his run well. Just kept off by Rudiger. Just hundreds of seconds away from breaking through the line and threatening to make it 2-0 to France. How embarrassing that would be for Germany. And Pogba is chopped down. And that's a good shot as the camera drifts above the German technical area to show his low. Camera goes up to show the grandstands and his successor Hansi Flick, who is still under contract at Bayern Munich. But here's Adrien Rabiot for France. Oh, it's come off the post. He's denied his moment of glory. He might actually have been offside, even. And Neuer didn't even dive. It was from a difficult angle for Rabiot, in fairness. He just would have hoped for more. I have to say that despite being the system being made so that he can play in quite an advanced wide role, Kimmich has been pretty quiet for Germany tonight. Could be that he hasn't received the ball enough, but he simply hasn't had those same threatening runs like he might normally do for Bayern. Maybe he should play in the holding midfield role, or even as a right back in a back four, not a back five, as Germany have been playing today. Robin Gosens has seen a lot more of the ball, I'd say. Gundogan, great cross. Oh! Gnabry arriving, it skims the roof of the net. What a fantastic ball that was. And hit first time as well. It bounced into the ground actually as he took the shot. And I think that is what carried it over. The Reese might have got a hand to it. Serge Gnabry, who's had a much quieter season for Bayern than he would have hoped for after the treble-winning 1920 season. Kimmich again receiving the ball. I think he's won a free kick as well. Conceded by N'Golo Kante. And Kroos is going to swing this one in. And Lloris withstands the pressure and claims. Here's Pogba. He's tackled. And here's Havertz. That's a brilliant ball forward. It's Kylian Mbappe now in the same position Rabiot was a few moments ago. And his cross is deflected back to Neuer. It's been a much more exciting opening few minutes of the second half than things were going towards the end of the first half. The opening minutes of the second half have been very promising. Feels like a second goal will come, whether it's 2-0 to France or 1-1 for Germany. Maybe we're going to get our answer, no. And that's Kimmich. That's a great ball. And Lloris got to it in time. Excellent anticipation from the Tottenham and France skipper. Oof, again, it's Serge Gnabry on the end of it. And that is the sort of thing you'd associate Manuel Neuer to do, although Neuer often tends to do it outside his own penalty area, not just in it. Here's a replay of Gnabry's shot from the inside of the net. And here's Rabiot's strike. Oh. Germany looking like they have a lot more threat now. Haven't made any changes, but they've tweaked something with their play style maybe, and they look like they have a lot more ideas of how to break down a very well drilled French side. Could well be that the last time these two sides met at this tournament in Marseille in 2016 in the semi-finals, that was a turning point. Germany with the world champions still looking good. France weren't fancied much, and they gained the ascendancy. But now, from that point onwards, Germany began to struggle. Who can't forget their disastrous World Cup performance in Russia? Here's Kimmich. And the header is missed and volleyed in. Oh, off the line. It was Goossens who missed. And we've got a player flat out on the ground. Oh, I think it was Pavard. Yeah, it's Pavard who's down. So Kimmich floats this one. And Pavard's ready to head it out, and it's Goossens who brings Pavard down. Oh, awful collision. Oh, Pavard struck clean with the hips of Goossens, and then he lands face first into the grass. Horrible moment. And Deschamps will have to think about a substitution. So he has... I don't believe he actually has any proper right backs at the moment. You had Leo Dubois of Lyon, who played in a number of matches for France in the Nations League. You've got centre backs like Kurt Zouma and Jules Koundé of Sevilla, had a great season. The left-footed Clement Longley. Luca Digne, who's played at centre back, but he's very much a left footer, not what France needs. And thank goodness we see Pavard up on his feet. He looks dazed, but at least he's okay. As I've said in a couple of live streams, we've seen far too many players lying down on the pitch. Just seeing if his jaw's been damaged. Could easily have suffered a neck injury. Not saying he has. That could have been very risky though. A very sore and inflamed neck though. Pavard, he's now running back to France's technical area. But really, Deschamps can't afford to substitute. Varane hasn't played at right back much at all in his career. Someone like Zouma has been used to playing in the back three. Koundé hasn't played at full back for Sevilla. So a very difficult situation for Deschamps. Maybe you should put Ousmane Dembele at right back. See how that goes. Make the game more interesting. Nope, Pavard's back. And the Germans with another attack. That pass hit too far for Havertz, and in the end he brings Hernandez down. He's won a corner though, and immediately Joshua Kimmich will deliver this. And it's flicked away by Pogba. Kroos taking his time before the throw-in. Now out to Rudiger. He's been really ambitious with his passes forward tonight. Gnabry. Ginter. Tries a low ball, but Kante covers that easily. Now it's Kylian Mbappe. And Ginter shuts off his options very abruptly. Germany just taking their time before mounting their next attack. Kai Havertz and Kimmich again combining. Oh! And a very risky clearance from Varane. Flash across goal. Maybe France could have scored an own goal then. Kimmich to take the corner again. Misses the head of everybody. And once again, all the way back out. Neuer has run halfway up the pitch to do something with it. Goossens. Kai Havertz couldn't get it to Gnabry. Now they might have a chance. But again, Goosen's well closed down and Pavard redirects it back to Lloris comfortably. And then there's to Rabiot. And N'Golo Kante. Fernandes. Oh, wonderful feat from N'Golo Kante. It's Pogba. It's Griezmann. Out to Benzema. Benzema's shot is blocked. Not the best set of passes out from goalkeeper and defender for Germany. They quickly win it back though. Here's Pogba. That's a great ball. It's Kylian Mbappe. Looks like he'll go for goal here. What a goal from Mbappe. It won't count though. Offside flag is raised. He thought he was about to make his first mark at the tournament and he won't. He was offside, as was Griezmann. It was a beautiful goal. And his teammates on the touchline were ready to celebrate with him. So, one of the most exciting moments of the tournament is denied, but what a finish that was. Tucked his way round, had no problem. And Mbappe demonstrating why he's one of the hottest young prospects. He is still a young player despite clearly being more experienced. He's still 22 and will be so until the winter. But we've been used to him giving these sorts of performances for club and country for so long. And I'm sure he's, depending on how far France progress through the tournament, he's going to continue to surprise us. France, of course, the favourites for many to win. Maybe not for me, but they're certainly doing the right things tonight. And this is a very open game, especially in the second half. A lot of chances for both teams. Rudiger forward now. Miller can't control it. Hummels. Very advanced Hummels. Kroos. Gundogan. Back with Rudiger. Ilkay Gundogan. And Havertz. Something might be opening up for Germany here. Kimmich. And again, the low cross is charged down for a corner. Leroy Sané is coming on. But not before Kimmich takes this corner once again. And Lloris gets to that. The ball charges downfield, but is blocked before Mbappe can get to it. Kimmich has definitely looked a lot better at this stage of the game than he was before. Kroos. Kai Havertz. Kai Havertz uses his right foot and it goes behind off Hernandez. Looks like Timo Werner is also entering the state of play. And Toni Kroos will take the corner this time. In fact, I think Lowe's got his priorities wrong. It should be Kroos on corners. But it's headed away. It should be Kimmich on the set pieces, personally, considering how many he's created for Bayern in the last couple of seasons. Kroos, some nice touches. Mopped up by Kimpembe and cleared away. Griezmann. And we've got an injury. Matthias Ginter. I can't help but feel he'll be coming off. Mbappe complaining of some kind of blow to the head. Something sore or a bump to the head maybe. It's Ginter's right leg they're tending to, the physios. Help back to his feet, but maybe it's not such a bad thing if Germany do need to switch to a back four as a drinks break here. And yeah, indeed it was. Both of them actually wasn't separate incidents. Ginter slammed into Mbappe from behind, trying to go for the same ball. That's how Ginter hurts his leg, and Mbappe his neck and the back of his head. It looks like a triple substitution for Germany. Maybe not. There's Timo Werner. And Bayern's Leroy Sané enter the field. And it's Gnabry that will be coming off for Werner. And it is Kai Havertz who is coming off for Leroy Sané. So one Chelsea player for another. One Bayern Munich player for another. Ginter's going to stay on the field, I think. And it looks as though Emre Can was getting into his kit in preparation, I seem, to come on for Ginter. Chan can play in a wide range of positions. He can play at defensive midfield, at fullback, at centre back. I personally enjoy him most in the defensive or central midfield. He's pretty solid regardless. And that cross is easy for Lloris. No one around him anyway. Timo Werner, one of those players who will be hoping to prove everybody wrong coming into this competition. Well, he did play an important role in winning Chelsea the Champions League. There's no denying that. At the same time, his goal scoring wasn't quite what it was at Leipzig, to say the least. And you feel that he'll want to score a few to help boost his confidence into the summer and into next season, where Chelsea are hoping for upgrades so they can not only make a stamp on the English League title in addition to defending their European crown. But I'm pretty sure Werner and Havertz may still be at the centre of that. Kimmich. Ginter. He doesn't look too groggy after the incident with Mbappe. Looks like it's going to be mostly Germany for the coming minutes. Kroos finds in Kimmich. And he manages to spin Hernandez, but the cross comfortable for Lloris. Again, no one's managed to get a particularly troubling ball in. France did it once and it worked, and Germany have done it several times. Maybe that's the final story of the game, even with 15 minutes to go. But 15 minutes, a lot can change. At this point in the game earlier today, it was 0-0, and Hungary were about to score a goal that would eventually be disallowed, and by the final whistle they were trailing 3-0. That's what I mean. Sane. Rudiger. Almost to Ginter, allowing Kimmich to overlap, which I think is the intention of Löw's formation and tactical philosophy for Germany. But France have it now with Kylian Mbappe, and Kylian Mbappe's bursting forward. He's round Hummels, he's brought down. What does the referee think? Tells Mbappe to get to his feet. And Germany will try and exploit the space France have left behind. And play continues. No free kick there either. Pogba. Nothing particularly threatening. About the last minute or so of attacking play. Maybe now's the time. Kimmich. Kante gets to it before Gundogan. It's Benzema. Another ball to Mbappe. He's unselfish and flicks it to Benzema, or rather Benzema flicks it. Mbappe turns away. Pogba now. Trying his traditional tricks. But he's lost the ball. And I know a lot of people have complained about that. Manchester United, who often try to do something funny and special on the ball. And often that's how he loses it. But I'm sure a lot of people would happily let them do that if it meant he could keep his wonderful creativity and technicality. If I was the manager, I'd certainly let that certainly live with that risk. There's the Hummels Mbappe incident. I'll admit I wasn't actually see that very well. Didn't give myself a good look of how Mbappe and Hummels' feet connected there. But it's deemed a fair challenge, and play continues. And Gundogan to Kroos. And Pogba stumbles again, but is able to get the ball away from Goossens. And it's a great diagonal ball, but there's no one near it. And Ginter will run that out. I think Deschamps is gesticulating to Pogba, just relax. Nothing fancy. 1-0 can do. No time for unnecessary risks. Easier said than done, that is. And thought for a second Kimmich was about to receive another yellow card. I don't think he did anything wrong. It was a free kick for Germany. It's just the way the referee ran up. I thought, oh, is he sending Kimmich off? Not yet. There's a car coming out here. Goossens on Griezmann. Oh, if anything, it's, well, he does push and grab Griezmann there a little bit. But up to that point, it was a fair enough challenge for the ball. Hernandez. I'm sure many will be upset that his brother Theo Hernandez isn't in the France squad. Contender for the best left back in Europe this year. Not in the squad. That said, Luca Digne of Everton isn't half bad either. Although in the end, Deschamps doesn't need those sorts of centre-backs. Those sorts of full-backs, my apologies, in his setup. It's out to Rabiot. And tackled. Goossens. I have to say that Germany haven't... They still sometimes feel a bit disconnected. They've had some great moments of individual play, but some great moments where they've looked threatening, but it never feels like a truly cohesive effort. They might struggle to get through the tournament like this. Ginter crosses. Again, easily contained by France. And Griezmann, very aggressive, keeping the ball out there. And if you guys have enjoyed my coverage of this live stream, I'll be back same time tomorrow, 8 o'clock, to cover Group A as Italy take on Switzerland. One of the favourites for the tournament against a potential dark horse, although Switzerland did struggle to a draw against Wales with a better side. But switched off in the second half. Interesting, Switzerland needing a result if they are to progress. Italy looking to seal their participation in knockouts already. I'll be covering that game, taking place in Rome tomorrow at 8 o'clock on this channel. As Pogba plays a great ball forward now. It's Kylian Mbappe, it's Karim Benzema, and that is surely France's win. What a return for Real Madrid's star centre-forward. Just look how everyone is happy for him. Karim Benzema with the dream return to Le Bleu setup. Wonderful touches. And again, Pogba did try something fancy on the ball. Now, will this goal stand? I think Benzema might actually have been offside there. Mbappe wasn't. Benzema was. Is the goal actually going to stand? I think Benzema was just in front of the last defender. Well, this would be very anticlimactic. More anticlimactic than Hummels' own goal ending up being the winner. And I think it's going to be disallowed. Indeed it is. Germany's free kick. Oh. Thankfully, Benzema doesn't have too long to go before he can let that heartbreak sink in. What a moment it would have been for the controversial but still incredibly prolific and deadly striker. But ultimately, it isn't to be. Not yet. He's still got a few minutes to try it again. It's a fantastic play, though. But Pogba and Griezmann's magic, not least Mbappe's, didn't matter in the end. France have been agonisingly close to a second goal, not just there, but of course Rabiot hit the post. Kimmich forward now. Clever dummy there. And did Rabiot handle that? Referee thinks he did. And it is handball by Adrien Rabiot. Matthias Ginter's night is over. Emre Can is coming on, as is Kevin Volland. A few people were a little bemused that Volland was in the squad for Germany, but I maintain he had a fantastic season with Monaco and is worthy of his appearance for the team. And now finally, minutes in the tournament. Volland, of course, was in Germany's victorious Confederations Cup squad of 2017, the last ever Confederations Cup. And now Germany do have a true left footer to take this free kick. It might be Kroos, but I think Leroy Sané squaring up for this one. It is Sané, and it's well over. He got the bend, but he couldn't get it down. And Corentin Tolisso comes on for Benzema. I think Benzema's finally allowed to accept the disappointments of what happened just a few minutes ago. It's Tolisso, who, like many others, plays his football in Munich, takes his place. They're going for a very attacking setup. And France breaking forwards, and Tolisso gets back. And I think it's going to be a corner. Close to take. It's not a great corner. Headed out by Griezmann. Easily covered. Sane now. He's in a similar position to that moment in the Bernabeu when, age 19, he smashed in an Iron Robin style goal from the right. He swings it into the box. That's as far as Kroos though. Gundogan. Kimmich. Out to Muller. Onto the left foot. And out for a goal kick in the end. And Adrien Rabiot has pulled over. Now France going to have to play the rest of the game with 10 men. Stoppage time has just started. And of course, it was talk that Tolisso was the man to take over. But ultimately, maybe for the following games, it is indeed going to be Tolisso in the role of that left midfield position. In Deschamps' 4-4-2 diamond /4-3-1/4-4-2/4-3-3 system. And they do have time to make a change. I think it's going to be Ousmane Dembele. Looks like it's the end of Rabiot's night though. Is it the end of his tournament, or at least his participation in the group stage? See shots of German players looking a bit confused. Trying to group themselves together, gear themselves together for a final 5 minutes. Lloris plays the ball back into the middle. Rudiger. Nice pass from Neuer. It's Emre Can. As I told you, he often plays at centre-back, but he's exceptional in midfield as well. And as we've seen with him at Liverpool, he's also pretty good going forward into the box as well. Who remembers that spectacular overhead kick against Watford? Sane. Couldn't hold on to it. Kimmich. Rabiot still pressuring him so late in the game. Hernandez clears it back out. Thomas Muller tries to cross it. Flag is raised. No, that's the flag for the throw-in. My mistake. Can. Antonio Rudiger. It looks like a particularly threatening ball, and Werner couldn't grow high enough. Here we have it, and indeed looks as though both Mbappe and Benzema may have been off there. Rabiot's coming off at last. So for the final 2.5 minutes, it will be Ousmane Dembele. Certainly an interesting change, but France aren't going to go too defensive in protecting this lead. A slender 1-goal lead, as is often the case in cup competitions. So they couldn't control that. Poorly positioned. And France have a throw-in. Hernandez. Not the start that Germany will want, but of course they get to play all 3 of their matches in Munich. So you'll be certain they'll want to get something done against Hungary. But first, Portugal. Still think even from here, Germany can get out of their group. Only a handful of seconds left. Chan with another run forward. Sane. And Vollen's shot / cross isn't enough. It's played back to Manuel Neuer. Punted into the centre. Oh, that's a fantastic ball. Here's Mbappe, but so is Neuer. Mbappe's made so many great runs forwards. Maybe one last chance into the box. It's headed out before Werner can get to it. And then out of play before Muller can control it. Deslo feel the game is up already, preparing to put his mask on for the eventual interviews with the press. Out of play. And time's up. We got 8 minutes of stoppage time in the end. And it's France who have come to Germany and beaten the hosts in the group. And they will travel to Hungary to face the team so unfortunate to have lost by such a huge margin earlier this evening. Germany get to stay in Munich, but will that be enough? You feel they have it in them to at least get to the knockouts. And you feel they have at least individual brilliance to get into the latter stages of this competition, but ultimately it's not been the most exciting performance, not been the most convincing either. And like many managers, Lowe will have to tweak his lineup to be seriously short of a chance of going through. France, on the other hand, well, they have a lot of positives to take from the game. Their defence was well drilled. They created chances, especially through the middle with Mbappe, incredibly well, and that will be very dangerous against ill-disciplined, high-pressing teams. But in the end, it is an own goal which decided this game. Sort of cruelly at a quarter distance through this game. I'll be back tomorrow, same time as I have for many of my streams, 8 o'clock, for the match between Italy and Switzerland. I've actually started continuing to fill my wall planner. The first rounds of games are finished. We've seen performances from all 24 teams. Now on to the second stage of group games. A lot of opportunities for teams to settle and seal their place in the knockouts. For other teams, a more desperate fight to stay in the competition a little longer. But at full time in the Allianz Arena, it's France 1, Germany 0. Good night. I will see you all tomorrow. Take care.